Hi guys, my name is Stephen Rabalia and I'm a team lead over here at JIT with Accessibility Medcare. And this is going to be just one module in our series of annual 2020 training videos for Accessibility Medcare. And in this video, I'm going to talk a little bit about professionalism at AAMC. And then a little later on into the video, I'm going to get into JIT Online. So to get things started, just an overview. When it comes to professionalism, this is obviously one thing that's very important for what we do. We may not be a shirt and tie type workplace, but when you're on the job, 100% of your dedication should be to the students while you're working. This helps them grow, helps them work on the objectives that we have in their treatment plans. So everything we do while working with our students is going to be a learning moment for them. And I mean, that's true. They look up to us and we sort of become role models for them. So with that in mind, everything we do while we're working with them should be to help them. Another thing I sort of want to reiterate is cell phone use during work time. Obviously, if you're filling out notes or if you're doing something with your student that would involve technology, that's fine. But in terms of pulling out your phone to text while you're working, things of that nature. If you're not doing something work related, your phone should be off during work time. Another thing is involving call outs. So if you need any sort of day off, a weekend off, a week off, whatever, typically we ask for 2 weeks prior notice, just so we can get the schedule adjusted. In terms of last minute callouts, those should only be reserved really for emergencies. So if you have a family emergency, if you're sick, one of those things. So moving on, here's just some tips about professionalism in regards to starting work with a new student. So being that our role is to help each of the students achieve their own goals, and to help integrate them into a communal setting. So one of the tips I like to tell people is before you start working with any students, shadowing is always a good option, asking questions, but also one thing I like to do is read over their entire treatment plan beforehand. So that'll give you some idea on what might work with this particular student, what wouldn't work, and different ways that you can help them while you're working with them. And then every now and then redigesting strategies. So what that means is, if you're working with a student consistently for a long time, it's always good to sort of take a step back and see, okay, what have I done with that student that has worked well? And what have I done that, might not have worked as well, just so you can, keep them moving towards their goals. The next point is going to be following a schedule. This is helpful regardless. And really, if you're at JIT, most of the schedule and direction comes from your team leader. But especially in home and community care, visual schedules can also be, a huge help to you. Even if it's just something as simple as, writing down work time, snack time, playtime, it helps both you and the student you're working with sort of visualize what you have planned for the day. Now, up next, I want to talk a little bit about JIT Online. A couple weeks ago, we got the approval for telehealth sessions at Accessibility Medcare. This would allow for Zoom meetings between you and the child or student that you're working with. Each session is roughly an hour long. And this sort of feeds into the next slide, tips and strategies for if you're doing any of these online sessions. So the first thing, which I cannot stress enough, is plan ahead with different activities, especially ones that can be done in an online setting. When you think about, if you're at JIT trying to keep a student confined to one area, that might be difficult, but trying to keep a student actively engaged in an hour over a Zoom meeting, that's even more tough. So the best thing you can do is have ideas of what you're going to do for the day. One thing that I've liked to do recently is pull up aquarium and zoo live streams. So that way you can sort of make a scavenger hunt out of that. But whatever you do, as long as you have a plan and you make sure everything is set up beforehand, it'll go well. The second point is to ensure that your work area is set up prior to starting Zoom meetings. So the way I like to think about it is set up your area based around your activities. So if you want to do something along the lines of MedFit or stretching, make sure you are in an area where you can just sort of stand up and they can see your whole body. Or if you are doing coloring or something like that, make sure you have markers, crayons, pens and paper, all of that, nearby. So you're not wasting, part of that hour session getting your stuff together. And all of this stuff is going to set both you and your student up for success. Let me go ahead and move my head over here, because I have this Benjamin Franklin quote that I like to end on that says, if you fail to plan, you're planning to fail. And that's especially true when it comes to these online meetings, because it's a lot more difficult in some regards to maintain that level of focus if you're not physically there with the student you're working with. So that should be about it for my video. If you guys have any questions about any of the material in this training module, feel free to reach out to either myself or any of the other team leads, and we would be happy to answer your questions. All right, good luck and have fun with the rest of the modules.